Hi guys, this is a response video to Playongo, aka the Lord of the PCFX, and his video of his most anticipated games of 2017. And I'm going to do mine as a top 10 list because you know me, I have to rank or list everything, just obsessive about order that way, I don't know. Number 10 for me is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I've never been a huge Zelda fan. The only two I've ever played to completion were 1 and 2 on the NES when I was maybe 6 or 7 years old. Other than that, I've only played a handful of Zelda games since then, but this one has me really intrigued with the new kind of open world feel. I really think I could get into this one more than any of the other ones. I definitely really want to check that one out. Number 9, Resident Evil 7. The last Resident Evil I really enjoyed was Resident Evil 4. It's not really been a series I've gotten into, and I guess that's that's got to be close to 10 years now since 4 on the GameCube. That was the last time I played it. So this one looks to me a bit of a return to form mixed with something more Silent Hill-ish. Seems to be, I don't really agree with the people that are saying, oh, Resident Evil's back. It definitely looks different to me than the older Resident Evil games that I enjoyed, but still looks really, really good. I definitely think it's a return to form as survival horror, but it definitely feels different than classic Resident Evil. I'm still very interested in it, very curious. Number 8 would be higher if it wasn't for one issue, Star Trek Bridge Crew. I'm really looking forward to the idea of playing this in VR and being a part of a Star Trek crew, playing the different roles. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but it is a little implausible to be able to play this with friends in the living room, having 4 or 5 VR headsets set up like they did in the presentation with Ubisoft last E3. It's a really cool idea, and online play is going to be interesting, but to me this would be a lot higher. This would be number 2 or 3 if it was a little bit easier to play co-op in your living room. I still think it's going to be a fascinating experience, but since I don't really do a whole lot with online gaming, it's mostly going to be a single player experience for me, checking out the different roles. Looking forward to it, but not quite as much because for me, without having multiple VR headsets sitting in the living room, which isn't really going to happen, it takes a little bit of the enjoyment out of it for me. Number 7 is a bit of a surprise for me, Super Mario Odyssey. I've always grown up loving Mario, again, kind of like Zelda, a series that I played more on the NES than everything else, but I did play on Super Nintendo, and Mario 64 was really the last one I got into. Haven't played a whole lot of Mario Sunshine, haven't really touched the Galaxy games more than maybe half an hour here or there. My sister-in-law has both of those. But this one to me looks like a return to form to the style of Mario 64 with a little bit of the upgraded, the better features of Galaxy that I remember playing, and I'm really intrigued by it. For some reason, I guess maybe the cityscape, something about it reminded me a little bit of Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast in a way, but to me this looks like a combination of a lot of the old and new and what could end up being a perfect formula, so I'm really curious about checking this out. And the living hat mechanic, really curious about that. It could end up being gimmicky, but I think it'll actually add a new layer to the gameplay and be a lot of fun, so very curious about this one. More excited for this Mario game than any in a long time, and that's kind of a trend with me with the Switch so far. I'm actually more excited for the Switch than I have been for a Nintendo system in a long time. Something about it has me extra curious. Number 6, South Park: The Fractured Butthole. I finally played last year at the Stick of Truth. It took me a while to get my hands on it and take the time to sit down and play it, and I absolutely loved it. It was hilarious, and I knew just from reviews and friends who have played it, my brother has played it, that it functioned as a good RPG outside of just being a good South Park game, but I didn't really realize how well until I played it myself. I thought it was fantastic. I like the new superhero direction they're going with the Fractured Butthole, and I think finally having the hands-on experience in creating a good South Park game, to me, a first time out, really making a solid South Park experience with the Stick of Truth compared to all those terrible PS1 and 64 games. There's a lot to build on. They already almost perfected the formula, and now they have the chance to perfect it, and I think the Fractured Butthole is going to be great. Coming in at number 5, Splatoon 2. I'm in love with the idea of Splatoon. The idea of a very just not, I don't want to say just family friendly, but a cartoony and fun first-person shooter. Not just get tired every once in a while of getting into just the gritty first-person shooters or Gears of War and getting Call of Duty and whatever. I miss kind of the arcade, fast-paced, just first-person shooter for fun. Something like the first two Time Splitters games. Yeah, I just love that kind of stuff. And Splatoon adds this fun, cartoony vibe to it and a whole new element. I really love the idea of Splatoon. To me, even though it's Nintendo, it feels like something that could have been sort of on the Dreamcast, like just the style of it, artistically. It looks like that type of arcade game from that era, and I think that's why I like it. It has an old school feel to it, and really looking forward to Splatoon 2, largely because there seems to be a focus on having better local multiplayer than Splatoon, having more modes available and things like that, so it looks really good. Number 4 is Crash Bandicoot: The Insane Trilogy. Again, I'm a huge fan of the original PlayStation. I really loved Crash back in the day, and having a remastered version of those 3 games could be amazing. And so far from what they showed, it looks like they're doing a great job just really doing a step-by-step remaster of those games, just screen by screen, doing it in a way where they're not completely changing everything around and doing a remake in that form, but just really remastering the whole thing to look more like a modern game, but still having the same level structure and play style of the old games, just a little smoother. And I think it's going to be fantastic. I think from what I've seen so far, that is end up going to be done justice in the end. Number 3 is Persona 5. Love the Persona series, Shin Megami Tensei in general. Really looking forward to this one. When we see more, I actually think I might end up being a little more hyped for whatever Shin Megami Tensei title is coming to a Switch. That looks like it might be SMT5, and that, but that's not going to be I think in 2018, 2019 probably for that. But number 3, Persona 5. Very excited to see where they take it. I've been trying to avoid information, seeing as it's out in Japan. I've been trying to avoid any information on that, trying to keep myself more in the dark with that, because I really want to experience it for the first time without a whole lot of spoilers, that type of thing, coming off of wonderful experiences with Persona 3 and 4. Number 2 is Yakuza 0. This is tailor-made for me, this game. It looks incredible. I love the Yakuza series. I'm super into it, and I am a huge fan of the 80s, and particularly 80s Japanese culture. So taking those characters that we've grown to love and really getting to interact with their past in the 80s, I am so down for this. I'm very excited for it. It's another one that ever since the couple trailers that came out a year or two ago, I've been trying to keep myself in the dark with and not look too much into, because I know, without looking into it, I know I'm going to love it, so I don't have to worry about that. And just very excited to get my hands on that. Depending on when you're watching this, Resident Evil 7 and Yakuza 0 could be out and have been out for a little while, but I never get games at launch. I usually wait like 6 months to a year, because I have plenty in my in my backlog here to go for, so it'll be a while till I touch them. Number 1, obviously, Shenmue 3. I mean, I still think it's going to be on track for this coming Christmas. There's a chance possibly delayed till spring 2018, but I'm keeping my hopes up and putting it on this list, and that is definitely hands down my most anticipated game of 2017, Shenmue 3. Completely excited for it, still blown away. I don't think until I'm actually physically playing it that I will really truly feel that it's real, because it just seems so impossible still. Very excited for it. Some people might say, depending on when you're watching this video, hey, why not Xenoblade Chronicles 2? So far it says 2017 listed as the release date, and that there's no way. I'm saying hands down, there's no way in hell, even a Japanese release by the end of 2017. Maybe I'll be wrong and it'll be a Japanese release and we'll get it in next spring, but I feel that that's just a placeholder release. It's undetermined 2017, and some comments from people over at Monolith Soft talking about shooting for late 2017 for Japan possibly, and I just don't think it's going to happen. So I'm not putting on that list. I am saying right now I think that spring, summer 2018, maybe Japan, and us like Christmas 2018. So anyway, my number 1, Shenmue 3 for 2017. And what are some of your most anticipated games of 2017?